VonAllen Sports.
Flag on the play if you're not subscribed to VonAllen Sports. But once you are, we'll make it up to your team in the fourth quarter. You're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest NFL analysis. Subscribe now and join the empire.
Very lack of torque. All right. Elf of Courage. Elf of Courage sends a $5 super chat and says, to quote the meme, Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes. Clearly Joe Burrow is better than all those dudes ever were. And awesome. I love that because that's a nod to what's his face from ESPN. Why did his name escape me? What's that dude's name? Ryan Clark. There it is. Remember, guys, so here's the deal. Joe Burrow is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. Okay? The greatest quarterback we've ever seen. You can take Tom Brady's 2007 season. You can take Peyton Manning's 2013 season. You can take Patrick Mahomes' 2018 season. Just put that all away. All right? Joe Burrow is greater than any of those guys ever were. Okay? Ever were. All right, can we do that? Are we allowed to do that? That's the thing now, right? That's the thing, right? That's the thing now. Okay, so we're going to go with that, right? We're going to go with that. Idiots. Let me tell you something. What? Is it too loud?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I can't even hear it though. But. Okay. Yeah, it's just, it's ridiculous. But just props to the Chiefs for making it to 4 straight AFC Championship games. You guys, if you're Patriots fans, you know how difficult that is. Andy Reid did it with the Eagles. I think he took them to 5 straight. I think it's 5. Don't don't hold that to me. I know it's 4, but it could have been 5 straight. So this is an Andy Reid thing. He is capable, when he's got a lot of the right players, right personnel. He's a very good coach, capable of getting his team together and getting them to do things that, damn, Ramsey Spurs all over me. There's no point in trying to clean it off. All right. Yeah, it's very interesting. So let's see here. Rice Cream Man. So sorry, dude. Since a $5 super chat, he says, man, as a 49ers fan, this was a tough loss, but I'm happy for Stafford as well. Hats off to him. Thanks for everything, Jimmy. Addie sends a $5 super chat and says, Baker is undefeated against Joey B, so does that make Baker the GOAT? I guess so. That's how it works, right? So all right. So I'm going to do, we're just going to do the Bengals Chiefs first, and then we'll talk about the Rams and 49ers. Actually, you know what? We'll do it backwards. We'll do the Rams and 49ers right now because it's fresh in my mind. Listen, I am not going to say that I think the NFL is rigged, okay? Please don't think that that's what I'm saying, because I don't believe that's possible. It's too difficult, and I think the NFL would be dumb to do it. But all year long, I have been. Hang on. All year long in the regular season, we get a lot of Rams games here in LA too, and I've seen a lot of them. A lot of them. And all this year only. I've never really noticed it before too much other than the no call in the NFC Championship game. But all this year, me and Milena both picked up on it. We were like, something's not right here. Every single time, all through the regular season, every single time the Rams were in trouble, there was always something that kept them in it. And I've never felt this way generally about a team before. If I was gonna be suspicious about a team, I would have done that against teams like I really don't like. I would have done it against the Steelers at one point, or when the Jets beat the Patriots, or in the divisional round in 2010, or I would have done it to the Chiefs, who get a lot of lucky bounces and things go their way. But I've never felt that way because I could always work it out. There is something about these Rams that are consistently getting away with things. These guys today got away with 3 delay of games. And after the second one that they got away with, I turned to Roman and I said, if that happened to the 49ers, they would call it. Swear to God, on the very next drive, the 49ers, they called the delay of game on the 49ers. And then the next drive after that, the Rams delay of game again for the 3rd time. Still nothing. So this is a little game that the refs play like, oh, well, I have to see it on the play clock and then throw the flag. Well, actually, dude, there is a ref whose job it is to watch the play clock, and you are well aware that they violated the play clock, okay? If you want to argue that it was really close on one of them, fine, but that leaves 2 others that were egregiously missed. And this is just consistent all over the place. It's very weird. Last week with the Bucs was probably the most strangest I've ever seen, as far as a ref penalizing somebody for something they didn't do and not penalizing the guy who actually did it. And they did that twice. Tom Brady has never had unsportsmanlike conduct thrown against him, and all of a sudden he gets it, the first time ever, gets it against him when he's the one that got busted up the side of the head, which they didn't even call a helmet to helmet, which if you even touch the quarterback's helmet, they'll call it on you. Something is strange here. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to try to even figure it out. I don't think it comes from the top or anything like that. but there's something wrong with the Rams this year. I wouldn't be surprised if 5 years from now we find out it's some kind of Donaghy situation or whatever. But that Rams owner is a complete piece of trash, and everything he is was staked on this move to LA. He lied about the owners about the team moving, how he's going to take care of it in St. Louis. He lied about that. He's been in all kinds of personal trouble for doing shady stuff. Like he got sued in Texas for relieving a lot of people of their farmland because he considered it an eminent domain, and I guess that's just what you can do when you're an evil billionaire bastard. This guy is a shady person, and there are other owners that I know wouldn't do that or wouldn't even try to do that. But this guy, I don't trust him. And all of a sudden now we've got a team back in the Super Bowl, in their home Super Bowl. And yes, I understand that the Rams went all in and they got a lot of good players. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes it works. But what I want to know is, why has it not been ordered one time? Not ordered, uttered one time by anybody that I know of that has not said that this is a stacked team. That's what I want to know. And I'm not saying that because I think that that's a excuse or, a reason to knock them. That's I don't believe in that. If you are willing to mortgage your future and get rid of draft picks in order to go all in, that's the chance you take. That's a risk you take. And anybody can try that. Any team is welcome to try that. So it's a risk. So that's fine. I'm just saying, all we ever heard about the Bucs last year was it was a stacked team. You know what made it a stacked team? The fact that Tom Brady joined it. But instead of admitting that Tom Brady is what made the Bucs a stacked team, they just said, oh, it's everyone around him. Well, he brought a lot of those big-time players there. We've been over that before. This Rams team is the absolute epitome of the stacked team if you're going to try to use that. So I just want some balance here. If you're going to accuse Tom Brady of having a stacked team last year, where is this for the Rams? Because if the Rams aren't a stacked team, I don't know what is. Can you guys think of any other? It's just ridiculous, man. But anyway, with all that said, whatever. Congrats to the Rams, even though there's a lot of people on that team that I can't stand. To me, they're the Chiefs of the NFC. Like they're just, I don't know. This all seems just too perfect. Nobody in LA likes the Rams. Nobody cares about them. It's just weird, but whatever. Kyle Shanahan, you were the biggest choke artist I've ever seen, dude. Somehow, the 49ers and Shanahan are able to get their guys far along, right? They're able to get their guys far along. He's a great coach up until a certain point. But when things are on the line, he seems to just always make the wrong decision. It's really strange. And yeah, there were chances that the 49ers had, like that dropped interception. I guarantee that guy's not going to sleep for a week over that. And then, but that play that Jimmy did, I mean, I understand Jimmy was trying to make a play. I get that. But in that situation, you got to take the sack. You want to make sure that you don't fumble it, first of all. So, protect the ball. But when you throw a ball like that, you better be right. And he threw it a little too high. His guy tried to catch it. I haven't seen the replay up close yet because as soon as the game was over, I jumped on here. But yeah, that was strange. Like, that sucks. I mean, I feel bad for the 49ers fans. I do. They have a good team, and I don't know. I really thought that they were going to win this one. I really did. But the Rams got it done, and it's not the players' fault that, whatever you want to say about them, whatever you want to take away from them, yeah, they just did it. But Jimmy, man, he just never comes through when you need him to. This is the guy that was supposed to take over for Tom Brady, remember? Remember how everyone said that that was the future? And Belichick seemed to want Jimmy Garoppolo so badly and all this other stuff. It's just, yeah. I don't know. Would things have gone good for Jimmy if he was in it? Who knows? But they're not. They're just not getting to that next level. There could be a good, interesting thing here. Now that the 49ers have lost, they're probably going to move on from Jimmy. I know they have Trey Lance, but that he's still a young guy that they want to win a Super Bowl. If any team hang on, let me get rid of this idiot. Okay, thank you. Let's see here. Yeah, Minuteman, I didn't see too much with the Chiefs as far as like I say, I don't normally think this stuff. I always can find it, like figure out something, but my problem with the Rams specifically was it's too often all this year. And again, it may be nothing. It may be nothing. Okay, I may be wrong. I hope I am. But it's just always, I keep calling these things and then they just happen. It's like ahead of time. And in all my years of watching football, I've never seen anything quite like this. So all I'm saying is it's weird. It's just weird. I'm not saying that there's something going on or anything like that. Just saying that it is strange and it is weird. That's basically it. So. Oh, look, we have a Giants fan. Oh, did I hurt your feelings? Uh-oh. Guys, I upset a Giants fan. I don't know. Maybe, oh, he left. He went to his safe space. Oh, damn, man. I'm so sorry for you. It must be bad being a fan of a team who is such shit every year in and year out. I mean, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, I understand your frustration. The only reason I ever should mention the same sentence is because they were teammates. Oh. Yeah, Jalen, and that's what I'm saying about the stacked team thing, is I don't mind that a team has all those players. I don't mind at all. If you are able to get that done, if you are able to put a team together like that, you've got to give up a lot. The Rams gave up like all their picks, dude. I mean, they're gonna be trying to make up for that for a long time, and it's gonna catch up with them eventually because there's no new talent coming up. So they really did go all in, and that's in their favor, and that's something you can do. So I'll never fault anyone for that. My point is, why is it only addressed to Tom? They don't mention this about, like you said, the Chiefs. They don't mention that about the Chiefs. Nobody mentioned about the Cardinals. The Cardinals did the same thing. If you look at it, they acquired all these guys, and nobody said that about them. They only say it about Tom. So I'm just saying that keep it consistent. If you're gonna say that about Tom, then you need to say it about these other teams, whether they win or not, whether they do good or not. I don't care. You've got to keep it like that. But again, I don't even believe in that kind of thing as far as accusing a team of, oh, they're the only good because they have a stacked team. Well, it takes a lot in order to get those players. So you're giving up something. So it's a balance. And you still got to play. Those guys still got to work good together. I've seen teams that try to do this. I watched the Eagles do that. Remember when Vince Young infamously said that they're a dream team? They couldn't play together to save their life. So it just didn't work out, you know? So that's not my problem. I just want to be clear that I'm not saying that about the Rams. That's a problem. Dave Wilhauer, did I notice in the fourth quarter the 49ers are taking so long to get plays in? Can't have multiple delay of games. Yeah, it was really strange. I mean, like, bad communication, things like that. I mean, there were a lot of 49ers fans there. Half the stadium was 49ers fans. So that's just, again, that could also be a coaching thing. Got to get situational football, got to get everyone aware and things like that. But, yeah. Honestly, when Jimmy was in that last drive, I was saying, I was telling these guys, Jimmy has watched the best do it for years. Okay, for 3.5 years, he sat behind Tom Brady and watched every detail. He's got to know something about situational football and know what the right thing to do and what would Tom do. He would take what the defense gives him and stuff. And I was just like, come on, Jimmy, just channel your inner Brady and just come up with it. And he, it just ends like that. And I feel bad for him. I like him, but you got to get it done, man. When a team invests into you and you're the guy, you've got to get it done. And he didn't. So, and Stafford did. Stafford did his job. He hit his guys at the end there when he had to. And he got lucky with the dropped interception. But you know what? 49ers got to catch that. So, that's on you, man. That's on you. Stafford gave you an open pick. It was like a punt, like hello, and you drop it. That's on you. So, but yeah, exactly, Brett. He's not clutch. He's just not. It's just not there. From Alpha Courage. Let me go back. Oh, wait. Yeah, I missed a bunch. Okay, John Thomas Chavez sends a $2 super chat and says, once again, Mahomes' hero ball helped cost this team. Sorry, let me try that again. Once again, Mahomes' hero ball helped cost him the team that cost his team at the end there. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll get back to that, John. Thank you for that super chat. See it twice since the $5 super chat and says 21-3 lead at home versus Cincinnati. I would have bet the farm and all the daughters on it that Kansas City wins that all day. If I have my way, KC never lives this down. It's crazy. It's crazy, Daniel. I know. All right, Elva Courage sends a $5 super chat. He says, when was putting together a stacked team during a season ever wrong? It's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's just, you've got to, it's a risk. It's a risk. And so the Rams, they got it. They're in the Super Bowl now. So even if they lost to the Bengals, you could theoretically say, that was a good thing. I mean, I think everybody wants to go to the Super Bowl. That's a big deal. So I don't see it as a failure. You're in the Super Bowl now, so I would see that as at least it was a good thing to do. People put too much stock into what they call the future. All these draft picks and everything. Well, there's a good argument to be made for acquiring good free agents, proven players that can play and things like that. So I think, either way is okay. It just depends on the team. But I'll never fault a team for putting together a bunch of good players. I'll never do that. So that's what you do, if you want to win. So if that's how you feel, you're going to win. So, and if you feel that's what's best for you. Yeah, Marcelo. I was going to mention that. So, Daniel, you asked where a Giants fan was. Yeah, somebody named LT Train or something. I'm assuming they're a Giants fan with that kind of name. So. Yeah, Minuteman, this Rams team is stacked. Oh, I love that sound. Thank you so much, Milena. So, yeah, but again, you still got to play. You still got to win. It's no guarantee. So I'm never going to hold that against them. If you're going to say it about Tom, you better say it about them too, because, but we all know the truth. We all know that's, there we go. South Dakota Save says, and then there is the exact opposite. All I've ever heard is poor Rodgers. He's the only one on the Green Bay teams. He never has anyone decent on his teams. What bullshit. MVP loser. Yeah, that's one of the most ridiculous things that people have said over the last decade is that Rodgers has no teammates. That is absurd. It's ridiculous. Whatever, man. He's had a lot of good teammates. A lot of good teammates. Okay, so I saw someone, I think Marcelo asked me about Brady. Okay, so like I said on the show last night, and I'll go ahead and repeat it in case you guys missed it. If a team was able to catch Tom's interest, an outside other than the Bucks, that team would be the 49ers. And last night I jokingly said, if the 49ers lose, maybe they move on from Jimmy and try to get Tom. And I do think that Tom would listen. I think that he would be interested in that, and that would give him a reason to want to come back. And that's only if he is thinking about actually not coming back. We don't know for sure what he's thinking right now, despite what Adam Schefter says. There's only one issue I see, and that is he's technically under contract with the Bucks right now. So something would have to happen. The Bucks would have to kind of let him out of that or trade him to the, or something would need to be worked out for that. Tom is not a free agent, as far as I know, unless there's some kind of out that I'm not aware of in the contract. But that, I was just saying that if there was a team, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Please don't think that that's what I'm saying. 'Cause I don't know. I think if Tom does come back, I figure he'd probably stick with the Bucks just because they're the team that, embraced them and everything. But let's say that he retired and then changed his mind and wanted to come back. It would be the 49ers, I think, are the only team that could actually get him to think twice, if that's even possible. So that's what I was kind of referring to. But I wouldn't put my hopes up on it if I'm a 49ers fan. But if you did get Tom Brady, I think you're Super Bowl bound. So I think that's pretty clear. James Johnson sends a $5 super chat and says, the Chiefs today did the exact same thing in the 2017-2018 wild card against Titans. Bengals offensive line versus Aaron Donald and Von Miller is going to be a concern. I know. God, the Bengals give up a lot of sacks. So I guess, we're going to move on to that game. So how crazy is that? I was excited. Watching that game, I was feeling as if it was, seriously, it was like if I was watching the Pats or watching Brady's Bucks. I mean, I was that into it. I was that excited. I am so happy for the Bengals. And I just want to say officially, Zach Taylor, I'm off your case now. Okay. So I've been riding his ass for 3 straight years. And all that. But he did something that we just didn't think was possible. And that was get the Cincinnati Bengals out of obscurity, out of mediocrity, even sometimes less than mediocrity, but there were years where they were kind of pretty good, you know. And he took this team from being so garbage. I mean, to get the number 1 draft pick, you've got to be really garbage. And that just happened 2 years ago when they drafted Burrow. So to get them now all the way into the Super Bowl and you beat the Chiefs. So first the Raiders, that's a good victory, but not that crazy. I mean, the Raiders are kind of a weird team right now. They're in chaos. You know, everything about that team is in chaos, and kudos to them for making the playoffs still. But the Bengals got the victory there. Then they went on and beat the number 1 seed. And that was with Derrick Henry coming back. Did you get it? That was with Derrick Henry coming back. And then you go on and you beat the Chiefs in their own house. And this is the Chiefs on a 4 straight AFC Championship games. And they were looking for their 3rd straight Super Bowl appearance. And you could say the Chiefs at the height of their powers. I did notice something in the Chiefs game that for a while, okay, so for like the first half, maybe into the 3rd quarter, a little bit, Patrick Mahomes was playing the kind of football that I like in a quarterback, and he was so patient. He would get back, he would look for his reads, he would, okay, first read, second read, nah, I'm going to take the 3rd, 4th read, I'm going to take that and then try to just move the ball down the field. And I was like, wow. If this is Patrick Mahomes in the future, this is a whole new dimension to his game. If he's willing to take the 3rd, 4th, even sometimes 5th check down, if he's willing to take those, that's a big deal because the defense is always going to have to wonder, is he going to hit the big play or is he going to take that easy play that we give him? And before you could rely on Patrick if you can make it look like he's got one of his deep threats open and then close the gap fast enough, which is what the Bucs did. And a lot of those sacks were coverage sacks in the Super Bowl last year. But if you can do that, you can count on Patrick to force the ball down the field. You can count on him to try to take the bait. But if you've got a Patrick that is willing to take the easy stuff, the underneath stuff, like Tom Brady did against Carolina, for example, go back and watch the Panthers game. He just takes what he could get. He even did that in the Rams game too. But that adds a whole new dimension to Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, maybe this is where it's going. He's finally doing what I was thinking would be good for him. And then he just stopped doing it. He stopped doing it. So in the 4th quarter, started playing hero ball. Started trying to run around and do everything himself. And what happened? Things started getting more difficult. Started going punting, field goal instead of touchdown. And by the way, let's reverse back to before the end of the half. Tyreek Hill didn't go for it out of bounds so they could kick it. I don't know what exactly. Maybe I'm just assuming that Tyreek just had a lapse in judgment there. But I told Roman, I said, that play right there is the kind of play, leaving points on the board like that, that's the kind of thing that will leave it open for a team to come back. That is a victory for the Bengals. That is a moral victory. And moral victories are important when you're down and you're going into a half, okay? And I didn't think that would come down to be like the point differential. That's not really where my head was at on that. It was more of just, I thought the Bengals would use this to kind of get a fire underneath them. And that ended up being something that mattered. So just kudos to them. This Bengals team is scrappy, dude. They're fighters, and it's just crazy. Joe Burrow, man, the plays he came up with today, just amazing. I thought I suspended this bot idiot. What's going on? How? Oh, okay. I'll keep an eye on your phone. Z said he'll be here at 7:30. Yeah, Blacker, 2 pocket passers in the Super Bowl. Exactly. That's. I thought the days of the pocket passer were over. I thought they were dead. I thought there was a new breed of playing quarterback that you had to run, and everybody had to be Steve Young. Basically, I've been told that was the deal now, but apparently not. So, but the Bengals won me over today, man. They just incredible. They had me so excited. That is some of the most excited I've ever been for a team that wasn't, my team. Where I was just kind of watching from an outside point of view, and just the way they do things, the way they play, they make you think, oh my God, something's happening, and then something, and they come back again, and it's just really, really crazy. And when they showed all the Bengals fans celebrating Cincinnati, I was really happy for those guys. Happy for Ohio. Ohio's a good state. And Addie, I know that you're a Browns fan, but you got to feel some love for Cincinnati. It's still Ohio. It's still your state. And I know that if I was from Ohio, I would love both teams. I would be fans of both. And, I come from a state where there's not even a major sports team at all. So to have two, that's pretty cool. So South Dakota saved. The new breed are usually hurt. Exactly. Thank you. Very well said, man. Very well said. Absolutely. But yeah, at the end of the Bengals Chiefs game, I was thinking, what if the Chiefs let them? What if the Bengals let them score in order to give Joe more time? And they decided against that. And I was just curious, like possibly would that could be an option? But the Bengals played. They stood their ground right there. They stood their ground, said, you know what, we're gonna stop them here. And then they got that sack. Kudos to them, man. Incredible. And then it goes into overtime. They lose the coin toss. And still manage to win. Now, what's funny, I don't know if you guys saw the video of me celebrating after the interception, but the reason there was some extra excitement in that video I uploaded earlier was right before that happened, I said that there was going to be an interception from a tip. The ball was going to be tipped in the air, and they were going to be pick it. Now, I said that at the very end of the game when they were driving and they were about to score, and instead what happened, I said it right before the sack, but instead the sack happened. But then in overtime, Tyreek Hill kind of bobbled it a bit and then threw it up, so that's technically a tip. It tipped in the air. And then it's intercepted. So I was just really excited that I'd called that play and that result. So it didn't happen on the exact play, but still, I was just excited about it. And that's why you see like a little extra there. So I just knew that Mahomes was going to force something and it was going to catch up with him. There were too many times where he had gotten away with things like that, and I was like, you can't tempt fate like that. You're not Brady, man. Brady, if something bad happens like that, he'll learn from it. He's like, okay, yeah, that's not happening again. But I could tell that Patrick was trying to play hero ball. And all of a sudden, very quickly in the fourth quarter, I bet you guys noticed this, you suddenly saw Patrick Mahomes from the Super Bowl. You saw Super Bowl 55 Patrick Mahomes in that fourth quarter, and that's exactly when I knew something was going to change. Well, I didn't know something was going to change, but I felt like something was going to change. What's up, Melina?
Oh, I was going to say, after he did my favorite quote-unquote dance, the little arrogant dance,
Yeah.
he started losing.
Yeah.
It's like, don't
Yeah.
get too cocky.
Exactly. So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes did that little dance thing or whatever he did, and they were so arrogant and so full of themselves, and then it ended up costing them. And that's the thing about the Chiefs, is that they're hard to like. They're hard to like because so many players on their team are such dickheads. Matthew is a dick. Tyreek Hill's a dick. Travis Kelce's a dick. They're just arrogant asses, man. And their fans are difficult sometimes. There's some cool ones. I've had a few call in to the show and we're really cool. But man, there's just so many more that are they act like they've won 5 Super Bowls or something. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how they are. So it was nice to have a little humble pie. But you know what? They're not going anywhere. The Chiefs are going to be back again next year. They're going to be in the championship game or the Super Bowl again. They're not going anywhere yet. They're not done yet. But it's still impressive. 4 straight AFC Championship games. I don't care. Maybe the Patriots have kind of spoiled the NFL fan base to getting used to seeing that and thinking that it's just easy. It's not easy, okay? If the Patriots dynasty never happened, we would all be looking at these 4 straight AFC Championship games with 2 Super Bowl appearances in the middle of that, and we would all be going, holy crap, right? Holy crap, that's incredible. That's amazing. But it seems that people kind of lost sight of that aspect about just how difficult this is because they've seen the Patriots go to AFC Championship game after AFC Championship game like it's no big deal constantly. I mean, 13 in 20 seasons. That's insane. Tom Brady's got 14. So that is kind of overshadowing all of it. But what the Chiefs have done is extremely impressive, and that can't be looked over. And honestly, if they're back into a 5th one next year, I won't even be shocked. I'll be like, yep, okay, that's the deal, because they are a good team, and they're a great coach team. Andy Reid knows what's up. He does make some bad decisions sometimes in game, occasionally. Not so much recently, but not as egregious anyway. Not like 2018. That was really, thank you, Andy Reid. That was awesome what you did there, buddy. But overall, he's a good coach. He always gets his team going. He's a good quarterbacks coach too. So yeah, Josh McDaniels took the Raiders job apparently. Well, according to my sources, Adam Schefter said that the Raiders were hiring Josh McDaniels. So if Josh McDaniel or if Adam Schefter said it, I'm not so sure we can trust it. Okay. We'll have to make sure first, but no. All joking aside, yeah, Josh is there, so why not Bill O'Brien? If you guys remember, he's a pretty damn good offensive coordinator. I trust. In fact, Bill O'Brien's my favorite Patriots offensive coordinator. I know that's probably shocking and like wow, but Charlie Weiss won 3 and McDaniels won 3. And look how many times they've gone to Super Bowl with those guys. Well, O'Brien did coach, Tom Brady to an MVP season. So I liked his style. I liked the calls he made. I generally never questioned it like I do with McDaniels. Like McDaniels, one week to the next, I hate him or I love him. I hate him or I love him. It was just back and forth. With O'Brien, I almost always agreed. So I would be happy, very happy with that decision. I think, and in fact, I think we might upgrade. I think that could be an upgrade. So losing Josh could be an asset if they replace him with Bill. What do you guys think? Patriots fans out there, would you like to see Bill O'Brien back as the OC? Do I think the Mahomes huge contract will cost the Chiefs good players in the long run? Well, that's a good question. It's hard to say because back when they were working on Mahomes' contract, I had said, what the Chiefs should do is sign this dude to like a crazy, like an insane 10-year contract, right? And that'd be awesome, right? For them to be able to spread that money out and back end everything. So, See it twice. Says, I put Peyton over Joe, but I don't argue against Joe being number 2 either. That's going to be really interesting, Daniel, when we really come up with the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And by the way, our artist, I don't know if you remember her, but Sophia, she's in Sophia, funnily enough. She's working hard on them. She's going to have 3 more ready for me. And she said that she's going to have all of them done by the end of February. So our release date for March is still on schedule, and that's great news. So each player is going to have his own, each quarterback is going to have his own video and artwork. So, and I can't wait to see. So far, she's drawn the younger quarterbacks, well, I'd say anywhere from the 80s to now. But I'm excited to see how she's going to do Johnny Unitas and Sammy Ball and guys like that. That autogram, that's going to be interesting. I would like to know how she's going to come up with that. But I talked to her yesterday, so that's really, really promising. I'm really excited about that. Josh play calling, it's gotten a little stale. It would be good to change it. I agree, Wally. Yeah. So, I'll be glad to see him leave. It'd be a nice change anyway. I have nothing against Josh. Okay, Josh has done a lot of good things for us, but it's time to move on. Especially, like I said, if we get Bill O'Brien. Yeah. Again, South Dakota. Yeah, about Mahomes' contract. So, when Mahomes was signing the contract, he was going to get big money no matter what, right? You've got to pay a guy like that that is such an asset to your team. I suggested that they should do a long year, 9-10 year contract. And a lot of people, it's kind of like, that's weird. That's, they don't do that in the NFL. Well, they do. All right. It happened before. And I was basing this off of Drew Bledsoe's contract back for the Patriots, where they gave him 10 years and $100 million. The reason I proposed the 10-year thing for Patrick Mahomes was, if you could do that every year over a long period of time, you back in the contract. And that means you get most of the prime of this team, the nucleus of this team, and it doesn't cost you so much. So you're getting a $50 million a year quarterback, basically, but you're able to get him at a much friendlier salary cap situation because of the collective bargaining agreement. The more years you give a player, you're rewarded with salary cap leniencies. So it's always better to give the guy a much longer deal. And they did it. They actually freaking did it. Milena, remember when I proposed that? It was like, what the hell? Why would you, that don't happen in the NFL. That's exactly what the Chiefs did. They did. They gave Mahomes this crazy long contract, and I applauded them for it, because that's what you want. You want to make it team friendly. You want to spread it out, and that was a great move. So to answer your question, do I think that will cost them? I don't think so. I don't think that's a problem. I think Kelsey and Hill both will probably be willing to, work out their stuff. They'll find a way. And the salary cap is always going up. Okay, so think about this: in 5 more years from now, if everything goes according to how it's always been, Mahomes' contract's not going to seem so bad. It's not going to seem so big. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Will they have to give up some things? Sure. But as long as Andy Reid is your coach, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just don't. So, yeah. So I don't know how you feel, but the Chiefs are going to be around much longer than anybody thinks so. And just for the record, told you guys at the beginning of the year, they had a tough time. I said they were going to be right back in this. Don't listen to that. I felt that they just had a letdown from that Super Bowl, and it was hard to get motivated again, but they would be back. And our quarterback formula, like I said, said that Patrick Mahomes had one of the hardest strength of schedules when it came to a 4-game rotation, meaning how good is the defense that he's playing? How good is the team that he's playing for the last 4 games? Because that's really all that matters to me. And I think that really shows who a team is in their last 4 games. And Patrick had one of the hardest schedules. And first, that could explain the letdown in the beginning of the year, and also shows you that they were getting wins that were not cheap wins. Tom Brady's Bucs got a lot of cheap wins. And Josh Allen's Bills got a lot of cheap wins from that because they were on the other end of the spectrum. So that's a good indicator. So. Are we not going to give Charlie Weiss some consideration? What do you mean, Alpha Courage? Consideration for what? To be offensive coordinator? Isn't he retired? Like I didn't. Is what? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I thought he was done with football or whatever. But I don't know, man. Maybe the game has passed Charlie Weiss by. The kind of offense and the things he was calling back then. And maybe it's just, not for him. Bill O'Brien would be the best choice, I think. South Dakota, darn it, you make too much sense. Makes me sad. I'm sorry to give you the bad news, but sorry, the Chiefs aren't going anywhere. Yeah, and you know what, C.H. Weiss, I didn't think that Charlie Weiss was coaching. I thought he stopped earlier than that. So 2014, that's more recent than I actually thought. So where's Z? Z, give me my money! Jesus! Jesus, give me my money! Jesus! Oh, hey, we got a Chiefs fan. Come here, man. Look who we have here, guys. Uh-oh.
Mad respect, VonAllen.
Thanks, buddy.
Just met you.
Look at that, guys. We have a Chiefs fan in the house. And he seems to be in good spirits considering they just lost the AFC Championship game. And I know how that feels. And I tell you what, if it doesn't matter how many Roman, set him up. Set him up. Yeah. We're gonna mic up the Chiefs fan here. I'm just meeting him for the first time. By the way, well, hang on, I'll ask you in a second. But Z's here, so we have a few people here tonight. But we're about to get a Chiefs fan take on this. This is gonna, and I just want to let you know, man, that a lot of our fan base here is Mahomophobic. So I just giving you a heads up, you know.
But Aaron's always respectful.
Huh?
Maybe these, or which ones did I use before?
Okay. Yeah. Just a second.
He might needs a little bit of wine or a beer.
All right. So I'm meeting you for the first time, and what's your name?
Bradley Gold.
Bradley. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm Aaron.
Pleasure.
So this is probably one of those stupid questions that journalists ask athletes after a game, but how are you feeling right now?
I got to be honest. I was up from midnight to 6 a.m. watching the Rafa match in the Australian Open, so I know you're a Rafa fan if I was told right.
Yeah, I love Rafa and Federer and Joe. I love all those guys. Yeah.
Okay. So this isn't as bad for me that the Chiefs lost. I've been heartbroken for 25 years,
True.
going back to the days when Bono was quarterback, Elvis Grbac,
Yes.
Trent Green, Alex Smith. So we're desensitized, if you will, from these experiences. Many 1 point, thank you, 1 point playoff losses. I think today was very unfortunate. I almost figured that the second half was a little bit of a setup. I don't know.
What do you mean by setup?
I just figured that Mahomes wasn't in his element as he usually is. Something seemed off, and I can't put my thumb on it. I was at a little Playa del Rey meetup, but something just didn't seem the same compared to how he handled the Bills last week versus this week. And again, there's a lot of mistakes that were made. Going back to right before halftime, my boy Z here,
Yeah.
said we should have kicked that field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we were a little arrogant in thinking that we could throw it to Tyreek, and that was a lateral pass that was not near the end zone, and it cost us 3 points. Which
And it wasn't near the end. See, when I was kind of looking away when it happened, I was expecting a field goal. So I just kind of started talking to Roman, and because I was like, yeah, I don't need to watch this. This is an old extra point, so it's like that close. And then you have a Bengal coming. Ramses is coming after the Chiefs fan, guys. So see, it's real. But I look back on the screen, and I'm like watching Tyreek get tackled, and then the time just ran out. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
That was a bad
So
call.
was there enough time if he got out of bounds? Like if they threw to out of bounds?
It was ill-timed. I think they're probably thinking like a 2 to 3 second pass to Kelsey to go into the end zone, and I don't know, they tried to course correct, and there wasn't just, it was, yeah, agreed, was he.
Okay.
But that's life,
Well, one thing I noticed that you're saying about Mahomes, and I was talking about this just a while
Sure.
ago. My one knock on Mahomes has been, I wish he would take what the defense gives him. Don't fall for that hero ball stuff, and he can be baited into doing that sometimes. And we saw that in the Super Bowl. A lot of those sacks were coverage sacks because they just knew that Patrick wouldn't take the underneath stuff. And I told everybody in our post-game show after that Super Bowl, I said, if Mahomes, they change his style to where he will, less hero ball stuff, it's going to be a dangerous quarterback, even more so than he already is. And he was doing that in the first half. He was patient. He was waiting for everything to develop. He would take the third, fourth check down. They used to make fun of Alex. Remember, they used to call Alex Smith check down Alex? Yeah. Why? Why is that a bad thing? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with efficiency, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Early Tom Brady was that. At the beginning of his career was like that. That wins 3 Super Bowls. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I saw Mahomes doing that in the first half, and it was flawless. The patience, everything was there. So the change you're thinking of, I noticed in the second half, he went to the hero ball stuff.
Exactly.
I think that might have been the problem there. And of course, people also, a lot of times forget that the other team makes changes too. And the Bengals did something different. I don't know exactly. I'd have to go back and really look at it because I was kind of in the moment of watching the game. But he did do something different. So I was asked just a while ago about the contract situation with Mahomes. And the question was, do I think that his contract will cost them later on? What do you think about that?
I had to go back to the mid-90s when they gave Greg Maddux, the Atlanta Braves pitcher,
Wow, yeah.
mad contract money in the mid-90s. They called it smart money.
Yeah.
And it's not based on, okay, right now. It's based on the future.
Right.
I think that inevitably, when you look at where statistically Mahomes can take this franchise, we're talking revenue, we're talking everything for the city in Missouri, which I born and raised. I think it's a smart contract. I know it sounds like egregious. It's crazy when you go into the economics of every single dollar.
Yeah.
But looking back, I mean, when I was growing up, I'm like, okay, where is the best suited franchise? We didn't have that quarterback. We had an aging Joe Montana.
Yeah.
I mentioned the previous, and it didn't get us anywhere. And he is, although lost today, little distraught Chiefs fans here. We're 4 straight AFC championship games, I mean, that's something that never would have happened if he wasn't on our team, in my opinion. I mean, we have Kelsey, we have, a lot of great talent, but without him, nothing moves. And that I always look at, I know you're a Tom Brady fan, I always look at what moves the chains. And that is one thing that I think the contract will, it will procure for the future of the franchise.
I think as long as you've got Andy Reid and Mahomes, I think you're fine. I think that Kelsey's a good tight end, but a great tight end. But a lot of that is scheme too. There's times where he's just wide open, and Tyreek Hill gets wide open. And then there were times where Tyreek Hill missed a game, and then you'd have these backups that no one ever heard of, and they were getting open like that. And I'm not taking anything away from them. They take it to another level, a whole other level. But as long as you've got Andy Reid there and you get some considerable talent, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But did you think that there was no way you were going to lose today?
70,
Be honest.
30% chance. I always tell my friends, there's never a guarantee when you're a Chiefs fan. We've had so many 1-point loss. I mean, my gosh, it was like the past 3 out of 4 playoffs before we got Mahomes, we lost by a point or even more,
Yeah.
Going back to the Colts 45-44, going back to, I think it was the Titans 23-22, don't quote me, but there's just been a slew of years where we just keep missing the cut in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I know that was even during the Andy Reid era, which I love him as a coach, but we've just been cursed, I felt like. And so today I told my friend, I'm happy Rafa won because he had a 45% chance of winning, maybe even 36%, down to 4% when he was down by 2 sets, if you follow my drift, but he won that match.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that tells me that the Bengals could win today.
Mhm.
Meaning that even if they're 30% on the spread, there's a chance. And they've got a good quarterback, and they're a young team. So you can never count this in. I think the problem is it's psychological. Mahomes is such a great superhero, as you aforementioned. And you look at Kelsey, you look at Tyreek Hill, you look at all these big, grandstanding, offensive powerhouse playmakers. And I think once in a while, our defense, our secondary, I'm not saying they let up,
Mhm.
but they tend to let down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And over time, throughout the course of the game, there's just maybe a few plays that can make the difference of the outcome. That, if you notice, in that second half, there was just a little lag. And that, in my opinion, was what was the difference of the Bills game to now to the outcome of this loss.
What did you think when the Chiefs were up? What was it? They were up 21-3 at one time, right?
Yeah.
Did you think it was done? Or
Absolutely not. And that's
No.
why I talked to my best friend, and I was like, okay, wait, we really should focus right here because we're thinking halftime. We're thinking we got this. I've been to, watching enough home games where we feel like we have the lead. We're good. It's preserved. And then something happens. We slip up. And I knew after watching that Bengals game at the same place in Playa del Rey just a few weeks back that this isn't guaranteed. And
Sure.
that although on the road, this team could take us. They may be the underdogs, but maybe even a little less talented than the Bills, but they could still pull this off. And I was like, okay, we got to be careful. And again, it goes back to trust in your system that I think this team will have to learn from.
the Bengals are a weird team. They're very gritty, and there's nothing when you look at the Bengals. There's nothing that you go, wow.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
look at that. Look at that. Look at it's just overall you don't think about the Bengals in any sort of way. Everyone is like, oh, Josh Allen, look how he's playing, and you've got Mahomes, and then you got look at Brady and all of his guys. The Bengals are just with that strange team that when things get tight, they seem to just come up. They're just a very old school, to me, they're just an old school gritty team. And but they remind me of, you remember how the Steelers kind of were in the 2000s? Like they were just, there was nothing specific about them that you were wowed by. It's just they always somehow won games. That's kind of how I see the Bengals right now. But like you said, they do have Jamar Chase and Burrow, but that's a relatively new thing that people are noticing. People really didn't say much about that until very recently.
Yeah. Bill Cowher's teams, they were good. The Steelers.
Yeah, and they just consistently found ways to win, and like Ben was their perfect quarterback for them. He I couldn't see him not. I couldn't see him as a quarterback of any other team other than the Steelers. How long you been watching football?
25 years, 26 almost. Yeah.
And you said you're from Kansas City?
In that area of Missouri, the West Side.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys had Alex Smith, y'all beat our asses quite a bit.
In the regular season, let's be
in
correct
the
here.
In the regular season, 2014. But the 2014 beatdown on Monday Night Football, that was a turnaround for Tom Brady. That beatdown, if that doesn't happen, I'm not so sure, what happens the rest of the year. But that turned things around for the Patriots, and I think we got you guys in the playoffs at some point. Alex Smith.
Yeah, you did.
In the
After
divisional.
we took the Texans in the 2016 run, you eventually lost to the Broncos, but you beat us. And I think there was bad coaching.
2015. The 2015 season.
Yeah, season
Yeah,
into
yeah.
2016. You're
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yes, and we didn't manage the clock as well, as you may notice.
Yeah, I was speaking about that earlier. I said Andy Reid, has a history of bad in-game management. He's a great coach, overall, but and not so much lately. He's been better. But honestly, his in-game management in the 2018 AFC Championship game against us, that was awful. That overtime, where he didn't call a timeout for his defense. I still, when I watched that game over again, I'm just in awe of like, how the hell does he not call a timeout? They were dead tired. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know, but yeah, that was crazy. So
Yeah, it makes me think back to when he was coaching the Eagles in the Super Bowl in 2004-5 season.
Yep.
And how that played out.
Yep. It's like what's going on here? Why is it McNabb moving the ball down the field? Why are they taking so long? And the Patriots were up by 2 scores at that point. And then they did end up getting a touchdown, but it was just very strange. It cost them too much time. Exactly. We have a $5 super chat from Israel. He says, first time in NFL history, the Super Bowl will not feature any of the top 3 seeds from either conference. The extra playoff spot made things interesting. I didn't know that. That's awesome, man. Thanks for posting that. Thomas Allen says, Mahomes runs all over the field more than any quarterback that I've ever seen. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, and what about Lamar Jackson? I think what he means is around in the backfield. Like, Patrick likes to run horizontally quite a bit, and sometimes it's to make a play. It's easily either to make a throw, but he'll take a lot of sacks doing that. Lamar Jackson tends to just go forward, like he doesn't do too much of that as much as Mahomes does. So, yeah. All right, cool. I guess I have to ask you this. I remember Chiefs fans had raised a lot of hell after the 2018 championship game about the overtime rules.
Okay, fair enough.
And they tried to have it changed. Do you remember that? Because Mahomes never touched the ball.
Right.
You guys won the game last week against the Bills and benefited from that rule.
Yes.
So how do you feel about that rule now?
Well, I think everything goes back to what appeals to the team at the time for that franchise. I think they put out, I'm not going to quote myself on what I researched from memes alone, but that the Bills denied that request for a change back in 2018 when we lost that playoff game, and other franchises didn't participate in the change of the rules. So now it's becoming more apparent that this is not the best for NFL, for playoffs at least. Could there be a rebuttal? I think at least for the postseason, they could put that into play. Maybe for the regular season to keep, games, moving along.
Yeah.
They don't need that necessarily. But when you come down to your whole season's on the line, I think it's very essential and important to have. But again, I think about teams, what does it benefit them at that time? If it's circumstantial, then yes, of course, now the Bills are upset as we were a few years back.
Well, yeah, okay. So the Bills, they actually voted against the rule after 2009. So do you remember when Brett Favre didn't threw the interception, and then the Saints were able to take it to overtime, and then he never got the ball, and they's like, oh, you got to change the rules. Well, so they voted for the rule that we have now. So before it was sudden death, field goal, sudden death, field goal will get it. In that vote, the Bills voted against it. And I think someone made a mistake.
They probably, okay.
And confused.
Like I said.
Yeah, the voting from back then and moved it to now. But regardless, I think in overtime, I wouldn't mind if they allowed both teams to possess the ball. I wouldn't mind that. It wouldn't bother me either way, I guess. But it did have to be changed. The field goal thing was terrible.
Agreed.
I mean, if you get on the 25-yard line and all you got to do is get in the field goal range, that's absurd. That's just absolutely ridiculous for the playoffs. Even in the regular season, I don't even mind if they would have kept it that way. That's fine. I don't care. But the playoffs is too important to leave it to a coin toss like that. So even though the Patriots have benefited from that, I still say they benefited from that in the Super Bowl, so against the Falcons. But I wouldn't mind seeing both teams get a chance. I think that would be interesting.
At least in the postseason. I remember the Vikings '98, if you recall. They had, I think, the coin toss lost and the field goal went the other way, and their 15-1 season went down the drain in the NFC Championship. They never made the Super Bowl. And then, of course, Brett Favre and his incident with the interception.
But it's funny how only when it happens to famous quarterbacks is when people start, talking about it. Yeah, we have a $2 super chat from Christian Harper. He says, Burrow saved us from insufferable Brittany and Jackson. Okay, I got to ask you, what do you think about Jackson Mahomes?
Not much. I mean, it's just, there's always something involved outside of everyone's family, and I tune out the noise because I always think about the players, and that everything else is just, it's to be kind of ignored, hopefully.
He does bring a lot of bad attention, I think, to the team.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that Patrick's not reined him in. Dude, you need to chill a little bit. There was, I saw a video of him and Brittany dancing in front of the camera at a restaurant, and you can see Patrick off to the side, and I don't even know if they meant to put Patrick on the film, and he just was like, completely, like, oh my God. So.
Yeah, the Midwest, I think it's a little different than the coast. Sometimes they're a little more shameless. They're not as accustomed to the YouTube generation where everything can go up on social media so fast.
I'm surprised they even have internet. I mean, when I went home to Arkansas, I was like, "Whoa, you guys got computers now!" I was just like blown away. I couldn't believe it. And,
I heard him.
It just shocked me. So no. Yeah, did you grow up in a small town?
Joplin, so not terribly far from.
I know exactly where Joplin is. Joplin, well known.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a little town called Walnut Ridge, Arkansas. It's outside of Jonesboro.
Okay, yes.
It's northeast Arkansas. So the Missouri line is not too far from us. Poplar Bluff is not too far.
A little bit.
So, yeah. Let's see. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to get off here. Thank you so much. And, man, thank you for joining me. I bet you just came over. You didn't expect to be on a podcast.
This is fun.
Right?
I've heard good things. I loved your documentary on Tom Brady and the GOAT between Montana.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Fan.
Thank you. We have one last super chat here. James Johnson sends a $5 super chat and says, Eagles 01, 02, 03, 04 NFC championships. Wow. So it was 4 straight. I couldn't remember if it was 4 or 5 straight.
Yeah.
Chiefs 18, 19, 20, 21 AFC championship games. Andy Reid did this with Donovan McNabb and Patrick Mahomes. And that's, I think, before you walked in, we were talking about this. But people don't understand just how big of an achievement this is. And I think the NFL fandom in general, like fans of all teams, think about this. If you're 20 years old, all you've ever known your whole life is the Patriots going to 13 AFC championship games. And I think it's because of that people don't really look at that anymore. I think the Patriots kind of ruined what that means to go to the AFC championship game so much. And people have lost sight of that. And let's pretend like the Patriots dynasty never existed. Everybody would be celebrating much more that the Chiefs went to 4 straight AFC championship games. People would be going nuts. Like, oh my God, can you believe this? It would seem just insane. Because I remember back when the Eagles were doing it, I thought that was insane. I was like, oh my God, how the hell did they get to the NFC championship so many times? It's just weird. So people are overlooking that now, and I think it's because of that. What do you think? You think that's a factor?
You have 11 men on the field, offense, defense. So many injuries can happen. So many things can go wrong. So many contract disputes. To keep a team together for 4 consecutive years in any franchise is an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And growing up, my heart, like I said, was broken for 25 straight years before we got to that Super Bowl win 2 years ago. So I'm forever grateful. And that's why today it hurts, but it's not like the biggest sting because it did happen for us a couple years ago. Whereas I know with Tom Brady, he's 1 in a billion of an athlete, and same with the franchise in that system. And that's why I think that people shouldn't take that for granted, because it doesn't come along every, so often. It's more like once in a beyond generation thing that could occur, and that's why it's so phenomenal.
Yeah, I have a new documentary series coming out in March, and it is the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And we're doing a countdown of the top 30, and each quarterback will get his own video. And how we're determining this is based off of a formula that I created that awards points for certain things, and it takes out bias from different years and different eras. I mean, so Otto Graham is not going to get screwed over just because he didn't have the amount of yards or whatever that other guys do. Because right now, guys like Jared Goff, if he continues playing, he's going to be top 20, top 15 in yards. And does anyone think that he's that good, right? So yardage overall is not that big of a deal. What's important is winning, getting your team far, and then those stats translating to those wins. And that's what matters. So our point system is based on those type of things. Well, I made a list the other day of the quarterbacks that I'm going to put through the formula, because to put them through the formula is a lot of time and effort, and I commissioned an artist to do drawings for each one.
Oh, cool.
And so that I wanted to make sure we weren't putting quarterbacks through the formula that had no chance of winning, no chance of placing in the top 30. Well, when I made my list, I posted a list asking everybody if I'm missing anyone. I wanted to get everyone else involved. So I posted the ones that were for sure. I listed Patrick Mahomes as somebody I was going to put through the formula. Okay. And somebody had a problem with it. And they said, dude, why are you putting Patrick Mahomes? He's not played long enough. And I explained to him. I said, listen, this is two things. One, I'm expecting something good to happen this year. I'm expecting him to go to the championship game at the very least, right? If he does, we're talking 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. That's 4 AFC championship games. That's 2 Super Bowl appearances, which is 2 AFC championship rings, 1 Super Bowl. He was MVP in that. He was MVP in 2018 in his first year starting, which is really awesome. I think Kurt Warner was able to do that. Tom Brady was able to get the Super Bowl MVP in his first year starting, but it's very difficult to do that. He's already got a lot of yards. His stats, his efficiency stats are good, and I included him. So I am running him through the system, because in our system, that's what matters. Those things, those comebacks, those game-winning drives in the moment. And I said, if he makes it to the AFC Championship game this time, that's even going to further make me feel good about adding him. So he's the only young player that is being put through the system. The next youngest player is Aaron Rodgers. So that just shows you what he's done. And I think you're about to be attacked by a Bengal.
Wow.
So Bengals are coming after the Chiefs today.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough. Oh.
Get him, Ramses.
Luckily, I'm a cat person, so this is not a problem for my group with a calico and a black cat. So
all right,
we're good.
Yeah. So thanks for being on. This is
Pleasure.
awesome.
Yes.
Everyone is. You're getting a lot of good feedback. People say you are very cool.
Well, thank you.
Said thanks, KC fan. You're a good guy. Another guy says, let's see. Agreed. This is the first Chiefs fan that seems all right. We you have to understand.
Non-discriminate here.
We've had a lot of Chiefs fans. We've had a few that's cool, like that have called in the show, but a lot of them will comment, and they're pretty vile. It's pretty rough.
Emotional.
So yeah, it's weird based on history. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll check in with you guys soon. And we have a lot to talk about leading up to this Super Bowl. So we got 2 weeks of that. We'll see you then. James Johnson says we should have you join the Empire. So I'll explain later what the Empire is. Thank you guys so much, and have a good night.
Hi, this is tennis player Mariana Dragic, and you're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest sports analysis. Subscribe now and join the Empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go!
VonAllen Sports.